I'm a co-founder and entrepreneur of, together with Arman here, we co-founded a startup called Recualizer, where we offer look beyond the CV. We offer employers to discover the person behind the CV by doing the projective personality test, where candidates asked to draw a specific object. It really depends on what kind of requirements needed for the position, but they would ask to draw specific objects, and then those drawings are analyzed, and then employer or HR or CEO will just get a personality portrait of the candidates, like in a projective spider net projection sort of way. It's all available in Recualizer, sort of the digital, how it will look and what we're actually asking. It's all available there. But before doing all that, I've graduated from University of Manchester in UK with a degree in artificial intelligence. And for last 5 or 6 years, I've been senior project manager in one big innovational company. And I was in charge with other senior managers we were doing smart city project. It's kind of big governmental project. My sub-project in that area was smart schools. But because the organization belonged to the government, we experienced many changes in the top management level, and we really get to see the difference between bosses and leaders. This picture expresses it perfectly. So there were top managers who had an authority, we did what they told us to do, but we didn't want to follow them. And there were people like naturally leaders who didn't have an authority, but they were mainly at the sort of senior levels or mainly at the bottom of the organization. But we were inspired by the things that we were saying. So, but today, as is like, it's really not enough to be a boss or a good leader. You have to be creative. You have to be open to new opportunities, to new organizational sort of approaches, innovational approaches. To saying that, I mean, like, it's very important for a leader today to be to have a digital literacy. Either you digitally native or digital immigrant, it really doesn't matter, as long as you're open to new approaches. Because in those 5-6 years, I've seen managers to turn out very interesting new projects because they were working just fine. They didn't really realize that the efficiency will be doubled or tripled if they will just try out the new approaches that the employees were asking them to try. It's really about the trust and cooperation. It's like if you have a teenage son or daughter, or maybe you remember being a teenager, it's like letting your teenage daughter or son to let go, to trust. At some point, every parent should just say that, now I can trust you. You can do it on your own. It's the same at the workforce. So, so it's really about trusting and hearing out the employees. But the problem with that is that trust and cooperation is actually feelings, and it's not an instruction. I cannot instruct you. I cannot ask you to trust me, but I have to earn your trust. It's not like I can ask you to do that and you will do that. But where it actually came from the very early Homo sapiens ages era, and where we formed sort of tribes that we feel secure, that we belong into, that we're safe into, and I could go to sleep and then trust that someone else will watch out for me. This is where actually trust sort of came from. The same thing within the modern world, and the same thing is like in the modern world. It's very if there won't be any trust and cooperation and sort of that, it's really hard to try new approaches and try to get to see the new things. Very good example on that about the trust is Tom Watson Jr. He was a CEO of IBM between 1956 and 1971. He was a key figure in the information revolution, and he really was a great leader. Once, one of his managers did a very bad mistake that cost the company about a couple of millions. Back then, it was a big amount of money, and of course that manager assumed that he will be fired. And when he got called to Tom Watson Jr.'s office, he just said it straight away, "Are you gonna fire me?" And he said, Not at all, young man. We just spent a couple of millions educating you. Why would I fire you? That means he trusted himself. He trusted the employee he once hired, and he looked at the things differently. He looked at those mistakes as an investment in learning. So this is very good example of how the trust can be very crucial. The hierarchies that exist now was developed in the dawn of industrial revolution, and they work just fine if you manufacture widgets. But in current digital world, it's very important to be open to cross all that hierarchies and to open to get to listen to the people who have the creativities, and it's often at the very bottom of the organization. For example, this Red Robin is the chain of restaurants in United States. They offer burgers. Once they introduced new menu item called Piggy Out style burger to their menu, and then they collected the feedback from the customers, and feedback was awful, to be honest. And then, of course, top managers realized that something in the recipe must be changed. And they did a totally different approach than they used to do before. They had this internal social network with an employees, and they asked their employees for the suggestions to do something, to add something to the new recipe. If they simply just asked the employees what was wrong there. And that was very surprising, because in 30 days, the feedback from employees get to the test kitchen and then to the headquarters and then back to the field. Normally, the R&D development in that kind of area will be from 6 to 12 months. So they saved up time and money, and the feedback about that new menu item was very great at the end. So they realized that the communication in the company, it's not about talking to one each other. It's about employees being heard. It's about their voices making difference at the end of the day. One more very good example I could not tell. It's Bob Chapman, who is the CEO of a manufacturing company called Barry Wilmer in Midwest US. He, in 2008, crisis hit very hard them, and then in one night they thought they lost about 30% of their sales. So for manufacturing company, it's very, very damaging. They needed to save up about $10 million. And the board came together to discuss the layoffs. So who to fire, who to keep for a while. But Bob Wilmer is just a different person. He doesn't believe in head counts. He believes in heart counts. So they ended up doing different things. They ended up introducing the approach that every employee, from CEO to secretary, must have like 4 weeks unpaid vacation. But it's not what they came up with, is how he introduced it. He said, it's better if we all suffer a little than some of us suffer a lot. So the morale went up, because the employees, the natural reaction to that was trust and cooperation. They trusted the employer that they're safe, they're secure at their workplace, and they sort of they started trading, they started cooperating with one another, with each other. Some who could afford 5 weeks of unpaid vacation, they took 5, and some took 3. So it's the trust and being safe around workplace is really important here. And what we offer is be a leader by choice, not by a rank. So build the team that trusts you, and you'll trust them back, of course. This is why Recualizer actually can help. So if you maybe will check out the website, it's really simple. You will just adjust the bars of requirements you feel like that will be inside of your team, and then the system will automatically generate. It will just mimic the professional HRs and professional psychologists behind it, and it will come up with a set of tasks. So thank you very much.